Nomad at Night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, what's up, fellas, ladies? Welcome to Nomad at Night. I'm your host, Nomad. Tonight, man, we got a good show planned for you guys. It's one of these shows that I've been looking forward to doing for a while because for me, I'm one of those, and don't take what I'm about to say to you as that totally optimistic, totally homer Chicago Bears fan. I'm very, very practical when I think. And I am a Bears fan. You know, put that to the side for a second. But what I'm about to tell you all is I'm going to make a case, me personally, about the ingredients and the things that it takes, the pieces that you have to have, the components, all the factors that you would factor into a championship contender on a football team. And it's about teamwork. And there's several things that we're going to touch on tonight. And in a minute, I'm going to show you guys a graphic. Our list is a checkbox, basically. We're going to interact with you guys, the fans. We're going to find out if we have all of the components to really make a Super Bowl run. I'm going to be totally honest with where I see the flaws at. Totally honest, and I don't care who thinks what about it. I'm going to say, and I want everybody to speak their minds. Everybody in the chat, everybody that's on the panel tonight, speak your minds. Be honest, be upfront, and be reasonable about your team. And about what you think the realistic chances are of us making a Super Bowl run. And I'm going to tell you like this. Over the years, watching Super Bowl runs happen, I've seen lesser teams than we have make Super Bowl runs. You know, we do have a rookie quarterback. That's a given. You know, you gotta put that to the side for a second and hope he comes along faster than normal. But outside of that, man, I think I can make a pretty compelling case for a good reason to be really optimistic about this. And I think I'm going to do that tonight. But before I go any further, let me introduce our fine guest, man. You on mute still, Petty. So we got a guy, Petty Murphy, that agreed to join us tonight because he wanted his input on this show. Sounded like in the green room, he was real, he's up about it. I'll just say that. And my man, Tim Bears over there to the right, man, I had to get these guys in on the conversation, because I think it's important for us as fans to be honest with ourselves about what's going to happen. So it won't just be us, the normal guys on the panel, me, Keds, and J2K. You got some fans from you know, they're affiliates to the program. Damn, they're part of the family. They are part of the family. You know, I just wanted to hear some other voices on what we're actually thinking out here. So before I go any further and start making my cases, I almost took off and started doing it. Let me pass it on to the Kmet, man, and let's give out some pleasantries first.
What's popping? No maniacs. It's Sunday. It's hatless Keds today. It's hot like stinking Canada, and that's the best thing it could possibly be, because normally it is not. So I will accept all the heat. Same token, I'll also accept the Super Bowl run. So we'll chop it up here about that and see what that actually looks like. But with respect to y'all, no maniacs, give a little love to y'all. First name I see is good old Don Bird. So boo to Don Bird. No love to Don Bird. Squeegee, Leo Factor, Jay Grizz, Armando, Junior. How you doing, Junior? 10 Bears is here with us today. Good to see you, my dog. Good to see you. Petty Murphy, Black Diamond is in the building with us here. Who else we got? Cornelius Squass, number 2, no maniac. I don't see Plank, but I won't hold it against you, Plank. I know you'll be in the building later on. Crimson, Patty Laura. Hey, Patty. Keith Harris, our guy, the Bishop, is out there watching, monitoring, keeping a close eye on the situation. Who else we got? Oh, Billy O, when the going gets tough. The Notch. Levante Rogers. Cliff Victoria. I think I did about everybody anyhow. Yo, we have a show for y'all. James Ford, one more for James Ford. We got a show for y'all. Let's get it popping. 10 Bears, want to give a little love to the world out there before we get it, yo?
No doubt. RPC Sharp, and just what's up to the chat? What's up to the No Maniacs? Glad to be back. You know what I'm saying? Back. You know what I'm saying? The Bears' unofficial son, man. I was working on the King's weapon, so you know I'll be be in another universe sometimes. But you know, I'm back here to show some love. What's up with you? Shout out, pass it on to J2K. Show some love.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thanks for spending your Sunday evening with us. Hope everybody had a good weekend. And shout out to the two guests, Tim Bears and Petty Murphy. Glad to have you guys on, chopping it up. Always love to hear different perspectives, different ideas, and how we can actually make it to the Super Bowl. Is it possible? What do you think, Petty Murphy? How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm blessed. Good evening. No maniacs, what's happening? I'm ready to talk some football. I'm ready for some football. I'm like a kid in the candy store, man. I'm man. You know, you remember when you was a kid, you be waiting on Christmas, you know, because you knew you had all them good toys that you was getting that you'd be able to play with Christmas morning. That's how I am right now. I'm ready to play with my toys. I'm ready to see some toys. I'm ready to see some toys run across the end zone, play some footballs off, sack some quarterbacks. Man, I'm excited.
Let's go.
All right.
I love it.
All right. Nomad, you with us or you answering the door?
Real quick, hey, I'm sorry, man. I had myself on mute. I was running my mouth. Listen, we all human. We're all human on this podcast, man. Listen, I want to go around the horn real quick and see what's going on in people's personal lives and how everybody's doing as humans. You know what I mean? Family good, you good. Before we get all the way into the football talk, I'm gonna pass it to you, kids, Mr. Snuffleupagus, right now.
Yeah, I'm just a little snuffy, a little stuffy today with the weather, but family's good. Everything's good, man. Got out to the golf course. We were supposed to do the back nine on Saturday. Instead, we ran into traffic, showed up late as on good old CPT, and got bumped out. So instead, we just hit the driving range and drove some balls, man. I'm sore as all stink, and yeah, that's been my weekends. Basically, been alcohol, food, and golf. Can't complain.
Living like a rich man, huh? What about you, Tim Bear?
I'm just chilling, man. Just everybody good, man. Family good. I'm just keeping it Hulk Hogan, man. Just training, saying my prayers, eating my vitamins. You know what I'm saying? Just handling these wars wherever they may show up in whatever dimension, and that's it.
All right, J2K.
Yeah, life's good, man. Where I'm at, blue skies, no clouds, weather's warm. It's pretty chill. Got to hang out in the park today with some friends and hit up the gym before the show. And yeah, I cracked open a beer and just sitting here chatting with you guys. So feeling good.
All right. What about you, Petty?
Man, everybody good, man. Mom's good. I talked to her yesterday. Wife's good. Didn't really get into went out yesterday, did some grocery shopping this morning, man. Just ready, like I said, ready to talk some football, but life's good right now. I can't complain. How about you, no man?
Well, I'll tell you what just happened. I got a very interesting story, man. I think I might have said before, I got a cat that was a feral when I got her. She was a kitten. Her mother kind of kicked her to the curb, and she was out there lonely and was winter. I just heartstrings start tugging, and I became human and took the cat in. I built the house for her outside out of a tote, put a whole bunch of hay and comforting things in there, made it real comfortable for her. Even made a door for it, so the wind wasn't going in there and eating it up. And that cat never left, man. And she became a house cat and an outside cat. And so, she's in and out of the house, man. She's a trip, man. She thinks she's a guard dog and everything. But last night, tell you some trippy stuff. It was probably about 2:30, 3 in the morning. Me and my girlfriend was still in here watching movies and stuff, man. And next thing you know, I see we got the security lights up around the perimeter of the house. So when something's moving around out there, we're going to see it. We back here in the man cave. So the light comes on. I know the cat's out there, but she stays out of that region of the yard because it's a lot of raccoon action. It's like damn Wild Kingdom in my backyard, man. So she avoids that part of it the best she can when it gets dark. And so the light comes on. I'm just like, okay. I look out there, and it's a damn pit bull running around in my yard. I said, a whole pit bull running around in my yard. So I'm out here like, what? How in the hell did this dog get in there? So I go out. So I got a fence around my house and privacy fence along the side. So it's like impossible for a dog to get in there. And so I'm like, how did this dog get in here? The gates closed. I'm like, okay, it's too late to go out there. You know what I mean? Because it's all kind of wildlife out there. I ain't going out there in the middle of the night. And so I'll just like, pray for the cat. Hopefully she'll come home and I'll let her in the house. So I get up there. I get up this morning, and the dog then ate because the privacy fence is kind of it's older wood. It's kind of probably got to get ready to replace it. But it's older wood, kind of starting to rot at the bottom. And he just chewed right on through that because it was a raccoon in the yard, man. He came in there on that raccoon, man. And so he didn't get to it, but I was just like, oh my Lord, man. Ended up patching that thing up, had to do some yard work today. But yeah, that was tripped out, man. You light come on, you see a whole pit bull in your damn yard, and you ain't got no dog. That's a trip. But
as opposed to half a pit bull. That one's for you, Jason, out there in the chat. That one's for you. That was for you.
Yeah, it was wild, man. You look up and see a damn pit bull in your yard and you just tripping. But yeah, that's what happened last night. Yeah, but my family, man, we're good, man. Everybody's good. We just we were talking in the background, man. We're just over here building as a network and as a community, man, just trying to build this thing out the right way. And, just feeling blessed to have J2K in here with us, man, every single day. Me, him, and kids have been really, really in the bunker trying to make some stuff happen with the network, and we see some good stuff on the horizon with some of the some of the technology we're getting, man. It's a lot of stuff looking up for the Nomad Network. I'll just say that without saying too much.
Yes,
but
sir.
what did you guys come here to talk about? Because Petty, I see him over there getting anxious, man. He ready to talk about some damn football, and that's what the hell we finna do, right?
Hey, enough with the damn cat. Hate cats.
About my cat.
I'm just messing with y'all.
You got a real cat, man. That's a real Chicago cat, baby. That cat out there hustling, running out the yard.
Hey, she's a G for sure, man. Ain't no doubt about that, man. She's a yard, like a guard cat, man. But yeah. So what we're gonna talk about today, man? Here's what I thought was these are the things, and I'm about to go to the comments. I know you guys got comments, and I'm about to start getting them up here. These are the ingredients, I think, and we're gonna go through them one by one. These are the ingredients to me that I think make up Super Bowl contenders. If you have these ingredients plus several more intangibles, several more factors, I think you have the ingredients to make a Super Bowl run. I don't care what it looks like. Don, don't even start running your damn mouth because your team was exactly where we are sitting there last year. Y'all sitting exactly where we are, and look how far y'all got. So I don't want to hear that noise from you. Don't even start talking. But these are the ingredients to me. This is what you need. And so where I want to start off are the playmakers. We'll start off individually on the offense. I'm going to take a little bit of meat off the bone, kids, before I pass it to you. I think they have the pieces offensively for the most part. Who are the playmakers on that offense? In my opinion, it's easy. It's the quarterback, the two veteran receivers, and I think it's the rookie. I think a couple of potential playmakers that we probably should talk about early are Velus and Tyler. What is going to be their roles with this new coordinator? The running backs, the tight ends. And so before I get carried away, I'm going to pass it on to the Canuck because I think we have the playmakers on offense for the most part. I'll have something to say about that O-line here in a minute, but I'll pass it on.
I've never seen a Bears team look like this before on offense. That's for sure. You guys can quote that one. Those wide receivers are crazy. I don't know who is going to get to 1,000 first, but somebody's going to get there, and somebody else is going to be real close, and the other guy probably going to be right behind him too. Like that wide receiver core is going to be crazy. I don't know what they're going to do with Tyler or Velus. Let's see what happens. I like your guy, Monsieur LeBlanc, the Nomad. I do. I like him. He's actually really nice. I don't know if he cracks into that room, but he'd be an interesting, an interesting addition to throw into all this mix. But I can't sleep, and I don't think any of us can. We can't sleep on DeAndre Swift and what he's going to bring to the table. Plus is considering him just a weapon that they needed to go get. They went and they got the weapon. I think we really needed to secure something like that on top of Khalil Herbert. Now you got a bit of a 1-2 plus Roschon. Man, I'm gonna leave the tight ends because we're looking at 1,500 yards there for sure. I just don't know who gets the larger of the two, but I will throw whatever's left of that offense down to the gentleman to touch it because, hey, 10 Bears, I think we eat as far as playmakers are concerned this season, at least on the offensive side, for sure. What do you think?
Man, y'all know I keep it real to every president that's on a dollar bill, you know what I'm saying? So we got some bullets in the chamber. Yep. But now, but as we know, for some of these supernatural creatures and monsters out there, you need more than just bullets and you need more than regular bullets. A lot of them take more than just 1 or 2 shots, and you can't be having no 38. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a little bit skeptical right now, but we got some time to work on some things. But as we see in training camp, because it's like any other type of anything else. Everybody else is holding their spades too, so you don't know what's in nobody else's hand, and you don't know what the future gonna hold. So it looked decent on paper. I would give it right now, just on paper. I would say it's about a B. But I'm passing. Let J2K and Petty get in there.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up Cole Kmet. I don't think we should sleep on him. This offensive system, Shane Waldron, is predicated on moving the tight ends around and getting them mismatches, different positions, F, Y, U tight end, fullback, split wide. So, yeah, I don't want to take too much meat off the bone, so I'm going to stick with Cole Kmet, and I'll pass it off to Petty.
Man, J2K took my answer, man.
I took your guy. I know there wasn't a lot of meat left on that bone, man.
Now I gotta think of somebody, man. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Nomad boy. I think I'm gonna go with Velas, man. I think myself included. People give.
I love how you identified he was Nomad's boy, though. That's very important. Continue, though. Continue.
Hey, Nomad. Me and Nomad a while back had a little bit of a disagreement about Velas Jones. It was like during the season. I think it was after that Chargers game. I was like, man, they need to get rid of him, and Nomad immediately came to his defense. But I will say this. I think this is the first time Velas is going to be properly coached.
Good point.
And
very good point.
And that's sad. That's sad. It's good, but it's sad because he should have been properly coached from the time he was drafted. But we all know the incompetence that we were dealing with. So I think Waldron is going to use him. Velas is not like he's a playmaker, but not just at the wide receiver position, if that makes sense. Like you could put him in. I think you could put him in the slide. I think you could put him in the backfield. I think Waldron mainly is going to use him in the backfield, and that'll be smart. DeAndre Swift. Now I remember you guys had that scheduled release party, and you guys were talking about you would count that Houston game as a loss, as our first loss. I don't disagree. However, I think you guys overlooked one major factor. Yes, D'Amico Ryans is aggressive. He likes to blitz. But what hurts the blitz? The screen game, right? Mm-hmm. What is DeAndre Swift good at?
Beating the blitz. Screen in the screen game.
Exactly.
That's what he does.
Exactly. I think DeAndre Swift should be for that game. DeAndre Swift should be the focal point. I'm not saying don't use your other weapons, but I think the offensive game plan should be built around him. So I'm gonna go with Velas, and I forget who said DeAndre Swift, but I'm gonna go with DeAndre Swift too.
Okay. Here's my take on it. And when I say playmakers this is what I mean by playmakers. This is what you got to be as a playmaker. When you playing a really good team, when you're playing really good teams, you have to have guys on your team that understand that games come down to moments, right? Games come down to moments. Several moments in the game that make a determining factor as to which way this game might go. And you got guys on your team that either you have these guys on your team or you don't. The guys that understand what those moments are and when they are, more importantly, and what to do in those moments. And so what I mean by playmaker, I mean we're talented all over the offense. And so we got guys with capabilities, all kinds of versatile capabilities, the Valases, the Tyler Scotts, the DJ Moores, all kinds of guys that are versatile as hell. Some of the running backs, the tight ends, we got those pieces in spades. But where are we as far as playmakers in knowing what to do in the moment? I know DJ is there. I know Keenan Allen is there. I believe Caleb Williams is a in the moment kind of quarterback. He knows how to play in a moment. I believe we have those kinds of guys around us on this team. I've seen flashes of that several times in Odunze. Even Cole Kmet at times, but the guys that we brought in, some of these pieces, we got pieces like that all over the place. You know what I mean? But the key to it is, do you have the guys in that huddle that know and understand the moments? Every game comes down to 4, 5, 6 moments that determine the difference in that game. Do you guys, one more time around the horn before we move to the next subject on defense, do you guys feel like we have the guys that understand that game well enough at a high level and can step up and make plays in heated moments? Go ahead, kid.
I think you said the most important part, and it was understand it, and that's where you get to to number 2 in your list. And I don't want to blow that up. So I'll keep things real. And I'll say we've got some amazing playmakers on this team and a lot of talent. It's all a matter of putting that talent together and then ensuring that they do understand their assignments, and hopefully they can excel at them from there. Ken Bears, what do you think, bro?
Hey man, this is where we get to the you it's like Deontay Wilder fight the other day, man. It's like you could get to that middle round at somewhere, but at some point, what you done built up so far, your experiences. My dad used to always say life come down to your experiences and your references. And that's where we gonna be short at, right there, is the experience and the reference points. Because, man, the leader, you see, everything is going to fall back on, everything going. It's just like you working out. So, all right, you didn't push 200, and now somebody say, yo, you ready for 315? You ready for 345? So they put that weight on them plates and put them on them bars, and then say, you got it, and then lower that boy down on your chest. Now we got to see if Caleb can move that bar off his chest. And like I said, I'm trying to be optimistic. I want to be optimistic. Y'all the ones who want to make Spider-Man the leader of the Avengers. I always thought we should have kept Captain America, but y'all was like, no, Spidey got it. I'm like, all right, okay. This the big time. This ain't New York City. We dealing with galactic threats right here. We dealing with Thanos. So, hey, as I'm trying to keep it $150 with you. But hey, I'm on J2K. You hype them up, man. You hype them up.
No, I love it, Tim Bears, man. I love your answer. That's a great response. I just go back to when's the last time you saw this many playmakers on offense? One football to go around.
Let alone on this team, right?
Yes. Yeah. One football to go around, and how are teams going to target? You can't just target DJ Moore and double him. Keenan Allen's going to be running in the slot. You got Rome Odunze, the rookie, the talented rookie. You got Kmet. You got Swift. You know, I mean, the ball can just move around everywhere, and I'm super excited. It's not since Jay Cutler and Matt Forte and Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffries and the tight end Bennett. Did we have the potential? And we didn't have a good defense in that era. And I'll hold off onto the defense. I'll let Nomad illustrate that. But I'm super excited. Petty Murphy, what are you thinking?
I'm gonna tell you right now. That's a Nomad's question. I'm gonna tell you right now who's gonna be important on that offensive line and why. It's gonna be Coleman Shelton, and you know why? Who's the starting center for Matthew Stafford that year he won the Super Bowl? Can anybody answer that question?
Hopefully the answer is
one more time.
Who was the starting center for the Rams the year they won the Super Bowl?
I believe that was Coleman Shelton, wasn't it?
My man.
There
you go. He has the experience. So he's gonna be the X factor of the offensive line. Now I can't give my second X. I'm gonna wait to give my second X factor because that has to do with coaching. But Coleman Shelton, you know, he has the experience. We're talking offense, so I can't, go defense. But I'm gonna say Coleman Shelton. Coleman Shelton. He has the experience. He was the starting center in that Super Bowl, so he has a Super Bowl ring. He knows what it takes. So if I had to choose one player, it would be Coleman Shelton.
Well, let me say this, man. I'm around this thing. We'll come back to it if you guys feel the need to. But when I think about playmakers, I think about, guys ready for the moment. Guys that have proven to me they're ready for the moment. I see several on the offense. I see several. Most of them receivers. I believe the quarterback is. I think I know for a fact he's not scared of the moment. Number one. Does he get a little bit? He might get a little bit. See, the thing about Caleb Williams that I think he's going to have to tame, and I think he will, coaching to help him do that, is, sometimes you can trust your arm too much, and you'll try to force a ball where you don't need to, when you can just get rid of it, throw it out of bounds, dirt it, do things like that in order to keep the play going or the series going. Those are the kind of things rookies have to go through. And so I think that learning curve for him, I think it'll be pretty quick. I think he'll get to that point. Hopefully he'll get to it earlier than later. And, those are the things I worry about with a rookie quarterback. Is he a playmaker? Yeah, he's a playmaker, man. He's got every bit of the natural talent needed to do everything that he needs to do. I remember watching the Ravens Super Bowl run. We were talking about it in the green room. They had probably a B or C level quarterback doing that. I think, what do you think? It depends on what you think of Joe Flacco. I think he's a B, maybe a B minus C level quarterback, and they got the job done with him. Why? Because they had a relentless defense with playmakers all over the field. And so that's what I mean by, do we have the pieces to get it done? You don't have to have an all-star at every position. I go to the Seahawks, the 2012 season. Man, that team was full of undrafted free agents, 5th and 6th rounders that got looked over and passed down on in the draft. And those dudes was hungry to go out there and prove people wrong. We got a team full of guys like that. We got guys like that on this team. And I'm looking at what I can – it makes me recollect on situations I've seen literally that happened in the league. And there's no reason for anybody out there to just broadly say the Chicago Bears don't have what it takes to win the Super Bowl or to contend for one. You don't freaking know that. You don't.
This year?
Yeah. You don't know. You don't know how. We don't know how this is going to come.
What you got in that Kool-Aid, man?
Hold on. What we're talking about right now is, do we have the playmakers? Let's see if we can check that box. I'm going to ask the people in the chat, and I'm going to ask you guys on the panel. Now, everybody in the chat, put a check mark. Give me a check mark if you think we check that box as far as the playmakers go. Put a question mark if you feel like I'm not certain about that. So either a check mark or a question mark. Give me that in the chat, and let's see if we check that box. Guys, one more time around the horn, kids. Do you think we checked that box?
Well, did we do defense?
No, on the offense.
On offense, I'm going to say we do have the playmakers to potentially make some level of a Super Bowl run. I'm going to say it. Fact of the matter is, there's a lot of other your other 5 factors here all come into play, right? But playmakers, I'll give you a check mark on. I will.
I got a question mark from 10. I see that in the chat. 10 Bears got a question mark.
Eddie, what do you think? What do you think, 10 Bears? What do you think, 10 Bears?
I mean, I'm honest, man. I mean, you know, hey, I want to. Sometimes it's like a relationship. It's like a lot of things in life. It's like, you know, sometimes you want the best. You pray for the best. You hope for the best. You putting all the right ingredients in that recipe. But sometimes when you taste it, you just like, damn, I could have left it in there a little bit longer. I could have maybe not used as much oil, or I could have put some butter or something. It's this year. I'm tempering the expectations, man. I said if they can get us to the playoffs, I would call it a major success. But now that we're doing hard knocks, man, we got the hard knocks curse, we got the big head, we got everything. It's just like I said. We asking this man to put 405 on that bar, and it just ain't no butter, it ain't no easy way to just deal with, man. Anybody be up under that bar, tell you it ain't no easy way. But
all right,
J2K, give him some optimism.
Well, you know what? I agree with you, 10 Bears. I think that's a great analogy. The ingredients are there, and it's just how good can Caleb cook with those ingredients? And how much better of a chef will he be after 5 games, 10 games, 15 games, 17 games? If we can just get to the playoffs, I could see Caleb cooking. Patty Murphy, what do you think?
We got the pieces to check the boxes for our playmakers on offense. On you, Patty.
I got sorry, I was on mute. I got a check mark. I'm sorry, man. I got a check mark. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Yes, we have to see it on the field. 10 Bears. I understand what you're saying, but I'm sorry, man. 10 Bears, this has been a long time coming, man. Name me a time outside of what kids said 2010 where we had this much hype around our offense, man.
I'm old school, man.
Try not to hit the table, Patty. Try when you're talking. Try not to.
All right, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and then still got Bayless, still got Tyler, you still got Roshan, you still got Khalil. It's like it's too many knives. It's too many knives that Caleb can cut you with. So I got a check mark, man. I'm sorry. I got 2 check marks. I got 3 check marks.
All right. So here's my thing. Here's my only concern. I think we do have the playmakers. Here's why I have problems on the offense. And until he proves to me that he can hold up to the bull rush and keep the quarterback clean, it's going to be Braxton Jones. That's my only concern on the offense, man. Right now, I think everything else is in place.
That's your only concern on the offense?
That's my only concern. Is Braxton Jones right now.
Okay, so you definitely, even I have to say it, 10 Bears. He's definitely you're into the good Kool-Aid today. You're into
what?
He got that bad boy spike with the Henny.
Hold on. Y'all gotta let me finish now. I mean, I just told you having a rookie quarterback, that's a given. You put that in the category of, yeah, it's gonna have you scratching your head and hoping for the best. Yes, of course you're gonna worry about the rookie quarterback. But outside of that, that's my concern is Braxton Jones. How to keep him clean. Do they do what they need to do to call the plays and the scheme to help him stay clean? Because I don't know if Braxton Jones can hold up to the bull rush, and that's the word on Braxton Jones. That's the book on him, man. You bull rush Braxton Jones, and here you got a chance to put him in the lap of the quarterback. And I hope he proves me wrong this year. I really do, man. I really hope Braxton Jones proves me wrong. But we're talking about playmakers. We ain't talking about the overall makeup of the offense. But I do think we have the playmakers offensively to get it done. I'm just concerned about Braxton Jones. Now let's flip it to the other side of the ball. And before I get to talking, let me tell you something, man. No great team, no team that wins a Super Bowl, no team that wins a Super Bowl does that without a good and great defense that paces them. I mean, like, you have to have a defense with resilience, and you got to have some nasty over there, opportunists. You got to have a sound defense in order to give yourself a chance on offense to even contend for anything. And so, do we have the playmakers on defense? And if you want to itemize who those individuals are, kids, go right ahead. But do you think we have the playmakers on defense to get this thing done?
All right. So I'm gonna answer this one as truthfully as I can and say no. All right, I'm gonna say no, we don't, because we're missing the linchpin, and that's because the person doesn't exist, the player doesn't exist yet. I still think Ryan Poles will select the linchpin. That's what I'm gonna call him from here on in. At that other side of Montez Sweat, whoever that guy is, that's the linchpin. That is the over and above signal. Like, if you guys are looking for a signal that shows Ryan Poles is in it to win it this season, Ryan Poles believe we're going to the Super Bowl and potentially contending. It's whoever he puts on that other side. If he puts good, solid paper, potentially draft capital into that defensive end or edge rusher on the other side, you know he believes we're doing it. Secondarily, I may be jumping the gun a little bit because we don't know what Austin Booker really is, right? Like, he could be a thing. So we got to give the kid a little bit of time to grow, go through camp, test the water, see what he's like. And again, maybe he's a diamond in the rough, and they don't need to double down. But that's the position. Everywhere else, though, guys, and I'd be hard pressed to find really another hole. Like, every other position for the most part is filled with playmakers. So I'm going to leave the rest of the defense wide open. I focused on the hole. I'm going to say no. But when we get that guy, or if Austin Booker proves to be that guy, holy smokes, y'all, it's on. 10 Bears, what do you think, Doc?
I'm going to say right now. I say the defense. The defense is an A minus. Defense is an A minus. It could be an A plus or A on, just depending on, like you said, if we get that other, whoever develops as that other outside pass rusher to give us that little energy off the end. It could be there, but I think what Gervon, Dexter, his upswing this year. See, if he turns into a Chris Jones, then you may not need that other guy to really develop, and maybe we can cut some stuff in half. But you know what I'm saying, that there's still some stuff in the win. Our secondary is top notch, top of the league. Linebacker core, top of the league, top notch. Defensive line, some questions, and see, I think the Bears remind me a lot of the Cubs. It's just like the Cubs, a lot of games they start off and they get a lead, they got hitting, but it's till they get that until you get in them later innings. After we Chip Carey, we normally sang that song, and you start getting into them leads. That's where it's like it gets some questions at. I'm just like, the Bears got us a good starting rotation to get us into this 5th, 6th, 7th inning. But then we're going to be closing these games out is where we're going to have to see who can do that. And if the offense can close the games out, and that's going to go back to the offense again. So, J2K, throwing the ball to you.
All right. I'm confident that we got 5 to 7 guys on defense who are top 10 at their position. And that isn't including Tyreek Stevenson, the rookie corner from last year. And I think he can take a huge jump. I think we hit a gold mine with that pick. And that's not including TJ Edwards, I think Tremaine Edmonds, but those are two. I mean, when you combine the two linebackers, I think it's one of the top 10 linebacking positions, even if both guys aren't top 2 at their position, because there's a lot of good linebackers. Still, and Keds, you make a good point about we're one mega defensive end, one linchpin away from having a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're pretty close. You know, we're
close.
one draft away from getting that guy, and then it's lights out. It's hands down A+ defense. Petty Murphy, what you thinking?
Okay. So the question was playmakers on defense. Do we have the playmakers? Okay. We have the playmakers on defense. Of course, we got I'm gonna give the secondary some love here. You got JJ, you got Reed, you got Quan. Now, if I had one question about the secondary is health, and that would be with Quan, because he, by him being a more hybrid safety, like slender, like build, he's slender. Now by no means is the kid weak. He's just slender. He's not like your prototypical strong safety like a Brown Dawkins, just buff. He's not that. But Kevin Byard, let's see, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, and that Trey Hendrickson rumor is not dead yet. I doubt if it happens, but I will say this. Poles told me he is not scared to gamble by trading Justin away. I'm sorry. I hate to keep talking about somebody that's not on the team, but he surprised me trading Justin away, because I just knew he was going to take the trade and, build through the, and trade the pick and, accumulate more picks, but he didn't. I could very well see him, because I believe we have 1 first and 2 tools next year. And those are high tools. They're not like middle to the bottom tools. They're like, I believe, within the first 10 picks, both of them, of the second round. I could very well see him trading one of those tools and possibly a player for Trey Hendrickson. And as much as I love Khalil, if Cincinnati is willing to take a tool and Khalil Herbert, because they did lose Joe Mixon, and I don't know if they feel filled that hole. If they are willing to take that tool and and Khalil Herbert for Trey Hendrickson, fellas, we may be, and we get Hendrickson, we may be looking at the second coming of the 85 Bears with that defense.
So
hello, Petty Murphy.
Hold on, he's basically saying we need that other edge rusher, and you'll feel
we do need another edge rusher. Yes, we do.
About the having a complete list of playmakers on defense.
Wait, I'm sorry.
You said you feel like we need that other edge rusher, and you feel good.
We just need that. That's the only thing we're missing to be like a Super Bowl contending team on the defensive side. We just need one more edge rusher. That's it.
So I'm in that neighborhood partially. I think that would be kind of like the cake is good, but the icing, you know what I mean? It'd be nice to have some icing and a little bit of fruit on top of that thing if you like that kind of cake, you know what I mean? But I do think we have some pieces inside that locker room and inside that defensive, the edge rushers. I don't feel we're like naked over there on that other side of the ball. I like the guys like Jacob Martin. I like what Eric Washington can bring to the table. I like the variation and the opportunities that he's going to give some of these guys that, I guess what we're looking for is an upgrade. What they purchased in getting Eric Washington was an upgrade on the defensive line. I believe that's what everybody's concern is on the defensive side of the ball. Do we have the pieces in place to be able to compete and really say that we have the playmakers on defense? I'm gonna jump and say, I think we do. I think if we get an edge rusher, which I think we will get a veteran edge rusher, I think when we get that veteran edge rusher, I think that's going to be icing on the cake. And I think the pieces from the front four, I think it's probably a B plus. I think that Pickens, Dexter are going to turn into playmakers. I think Billings is a playmaker. We know Sweat is a playmaker. We know that. I'm talking about the front four. Then you go back to the back seven. We got one of the top 2-3 linebacker cores in the league, right? We know that. We also have probably if not the top, one of the top secondaries in the league. And so what I'm going to say about on the defensive side, as far as playmakers go, the only thing I don't see there's one nasty guy. There's one chippy guy. I think we need a little bit more nasty. Number one. Number two, a little bit more nasty, a little bit more chippy. And I think we need another big in the middle. Just another big in the middle to back up Andrew Billings. And I think that's what we need going forward. But I'll pass it around the horn one more time and get everybody's take on what I just said, because I'm sure you guys got a reaction.
Well, that's no reaction really. Like you're doubling down on what I was saying, even though you believe the defense is there. I believe the defense is very like J2K said, like we're very close to being there, man. We're almost there. It is just having that extra piece, and whether that piece develops out of what we have existing, whether that's Gervon, Dexter, Zach Pickens, Austin Booker, heck, even Dominique Robinson. I don't care who it is, really. At the end of the day, I don't care who it is. If somebody really wants to step up and be that guy, provide that pressure, you know what I mean? That's really what we're looking for, and I think that's the change that shifts and tips this defense into Super Bowl caliber case scenario. So that's where I am with it.
I jump in on Smitty. Smitty, let me tell you something, man. I'm not here to shoot down what you had to say. Smitty says Billings is above average, but not a playmaker. That dude in the middle, I'm telling you, if you play on in a 4-3 defense, zone-based defense, everybody knows that dude in the middle has to be a tone setter. He has got to be the guy that doesn't get moved around so that other people along that front can do their jobs the right way. The way the operation runs is for you to at least move that line of scrimmage back. If he can at least not get moved back, and those other guys can get penetration, he's done his job. But if he can get forward momentum and get up the field, he's done extra. That's the way that defense is set up. So, I would partially agree with Smitty, but I would add that piece to it that, that guy does more than enough to be considered a playmaker. I've seen that guy in the backfield one too many times to not consider him a playmaker. I think he's a playmaker. I'm sorry, Smitty. I just disagree with that one.
I think we're really just missing that extra heat, right? Like the extra heat on that line opens the world up for a guy like Andrew Billings, for a guy like Gervon Dexter, for a guy like Zach Pickens, for a guy like DeMarcus Walker as well, depending on where he's playing that particular snap. But that's what I'm saying. We need a little bit more heat over there. Just a little bit more heat. And I'm not sure what offenses are going to do.
I would say, I'm gonna go Billings. Billings can ball. He a young wrecking ball. He's a young Jerry Ball. He's just short. That's all. He's just short, but pound for pound, he can get down with the best of them. But overall, with the defense we got enough cogs. We got enough cogs on the defense to do it. But like I said, the thing is, you can burn a defense out. I've seen plenty of defenses. The Bears have had plenty of defenses. See, okay, if you come from an offense and when you throw the ball 75% of the time, 75% of the time, it's almost like in the UFC. You're a striker, so all you do is plan on striking folks. But then you get into a match with somebody that other teams. This the whole trick with the NFL. This is how the NFL gets everybody. With all the different Kool-Aid everybody's sipping, everybody got different batches and putting in everybody. We supervised up with Henny and with cognac and with everything else and Patron and everything. Everybody else doing the same. These games come down to 3 and 6 points every week.
Every week.
So how is that possible for everybody to have all these different teams and teams be 0 and 15, 0 and 17 and all this and 1 and 17? The games still come down to 3 and 6 points. 75% of these games come down between 3 and 6 points. So at that point, you're gonna be able to keep that ball from being all you gotta do is lose concentration and put that ball over the plate one time. And they hit, and that's gonna be the issue. And I just like that's gonna be the issue. Will you want to confine Caleb? Can Caleb sit there and game man? See, everybody just nobody ever saw Jim McMahon. But Jim McMahon was he was a damn Captain Kirk out there. He was sitting there, nah, Mike. I'm changing plays. Mike Dicker sitting up there like, remember when, you know what I'm saying? It's like you had to be there to see it, to see him do this shit. That's why Mike Dicker would be like, yo, come here. And start going at him like, you changed that play like damn right, because we was about to get our head ate out there. Caleb is not going to feel comfortable enough because other teams, other guys out there, they get paid too on defense. And that's what I'm just saying. It's just like,
hey, Tim, I hate to interrupt, but I just want to stay on the defense for now. So do you think we got the playmakers on defense to make this?
I do think we got, that's what I'm saying. I think we got the defense to do it, but like I said, we got the defense to keep the game close. J2K, it's on you.
All right, thank you. So I started thinking about Washington's defense from the last few years. They had a stacked defensive line. They had Sweat, they had Allen, Payne, Chase Young, garbage secondary. And they really never were that good of a defense overall. When you look at the Bears, our back seven is top 5, easily top 10 in the league. Granted, we've got Sweat. We still need someone on the other side. I'm really expecting Gervon Dexter to take a huge leap this year and become that dominant man in the center. Petty Murphy, what are you thinking?
I was just about to say, Gervon Dexter is the X factor of that defense. If Gervon Dexter plays like Gervon Dexter from week, I believe it was 9 to 17. I believe it was week. No, man, was it week 9? He started stepping up, or was it like later in the season? I can't remember.
From like 12 to 17.
Okay.
That's when he really started flashing.
12. Okay. If he's Gervon Dexter week 1 through 12, we're in trouble. But if we don't get that other edge rusher, and he is Gervon Dexter week 1 through 12, but if he's Gervon Dexter without the edge rusher, if he's Gervon Dexter week 12 through 17, then yeah, we got the defense even without that edge rusher to be a Super Bowl contender. Because like somebody said, if Gervon Dexter shows up like Chris Jones, then there's no need to go get that edge rusher, because he'll be filling that need, that he'll be filling that role perfectly. Because with the cover 2, the key is the 3 tech is the engine of that defense. The 3 tech, in the cover 2, the 3 tech's job is to collapse the pocket from the middle, get pressure up the gut. So if Gervon Dexter can consistently get pressure up the gut, then yeah, we're gonna be real scary, and we're projected to be scary now. But if Gervon Dexter shows up, oh yeah, we're gonna be scary.
Hey, do me a favor, Petty. Pop out, and pop back in, because something's going on with your feed, man. It's just a little squeaking going on in the background. Just so pop out and come back in. If you need another invite, we'll send you an invite. But I think you should be able to get right back in. But just pop out. All right. But this is where I feel the most confident is on the defense by far, hands down. If I were to give you my take on the Bears' chances, and I was a circle an area that makes me that confident. If you wanted to pick my brain and know what's going through my veins right now, I'm telling you right now, a defense sets the tone for that opportunity. A defense sets the tone for that opportunity. I said that twice because I meant it. You got to have those guys to give you extra opportunities. You got to have playmakers on that side of the ball. You've got to have, and I think we got that. I think and I'll name them. I think Gervon, Dexter, of course, Zach Pickens are potential big playmakers. I think Andrew Billings is a playmaker. I know Montez Sweat is. I know TJ and Tremaine are. I think Jack Sanborn's a playmaker. I think the back four, every last one of those guys are playmakers. And so if you want to pick my brain again, that's what makes me more confident than anything, because of defense, I think it's cliche if you want to. Defense do actually win championships. Defense puts you in situations so you have the opportunity to win championships. You need certain guys out there to set the tone. You need chippy guys out there. You need guys out there to understand the moment. And that's when it elevates to the level of being playmakers. I think who do I think are the playmakers? I think TJ's a playmaker, number one. Montez Sweat's a playmaker. I think Tremaine's a playmaker. I know Kevin Byard's a playmaker. Jaylon Johnson's a playmaker. Those are five I can just name off the top. You can start considering Tyreek Stevenson one of those too. Everybody else, Jaquan Brisker can be a playmaker when he applies himself, but you got at least 4 or 5 pretty much solidified playmakers on the defense, and probably about 3 or 4 maybes, if that makes sense to you. So I think that we do have what it takes on defense. Do we have the playmakers? Let me know in the chat. Give me a check or give me a question mark. Do you feel like we're missing a piece? Just let me know. Be honest. Give me a check or a question mark in the chat. So one more time around the horn, real quick, kids, just really fast. Do you think we check the boxes on playmakers on defense?
All right, fine. Yes, yeah, I do. Check.
I hope I didn't convince you, but that's how I feel about it.
Say it's the way the question is worded, right? For me, I think we put the world on Superbowl notice if we get that extra guy on that defensive line. But I think we have a scary enough defense that we can do some damage.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I think we got the pieces that they got the infrastructure. We built a Super Bowl defense or a real playoff defense. Like I said, they could get us to the late innings. But like you said, pitching normally good pitching normally beats good hitting. That's what they normally say. So I'm saying, like, but at some point you can't win a game 0 with no run support. And the run support, that's where it's gonna come down to. But I think we got the defense though.
All right, JT.
Yeah, I'm agree. Top 10 defense with the potential of being a top 5 defense.
All right, Petty.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Oh, it's much cleaner.
We got you,
Much
Petty.
cleaner.
Everything's good.
Okay, so as I was saying, if Gervon Dexter shows up, we're gonna be scary. Like, yes, getting Kevin Byard, that was a good replacement for Eddie. I still feel we need that other side pass rusher just in case Gervon, gets off to a slow start. But right now, I'm gonna say we're.
Do me a favor, Petty. Try backing away from your phone or whatever and talk that way.
Okay.
Maybe.
What about now?
Keep talking.
Can you hear me? What about now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Okay. All right. No squeaking. Echo.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Sounds good right now.
Okay, great. So that's my take on it. I'm gonna say we're edge rusher away, depending on Gervon Dexter. In my opinion, he's the X factor.
All right. I'm giving a check, man. I'm giving a check, and I'm giving. If I could, I'm giving it 2 and 3 more because I think this is what. If we make a late season run, this is what'll set the tone to get us there. I just told you what I think, who I think are the playmakers. I think you got pretty much everything you need. We could get that extra icing on the cake with another edge rusher, a veteran edge rusher. I do think there's some lack as far as the middle of the front four. I do think Billings needs another beefy body to back him up, man. We need another side of beef there. But other than that, I think those are things that can happen from now into game one. You know, you got OTAs, you got veteran OTAs coming up, mandatory OTAs. Then you got training camp, you got cuts. June 1st cuts that started happening. So there's opportunities there for them to answer those question marks. So, but I think we're good as far as the defense goes, man. I think we got the playmakers. I'm giving it a check. And so let's slide on over to coaching. And I can take all the meat off the bone on this one. But I know most people feel like I feel about it. And I'm going to just pass it to kids because, that's if I had to circle something, about lacking, I'm going to say the head coach right now has created an atmosphere to open up that door. It's an avenue for people to question whether Flus is the right coach to get us over that hump. So I'll just pass it to kids.
Well, you should have left it the way you had it before. I'm just saying, you just framed it. I thought you framed it right into me really thinking about Matt Eberflus and his last 2 seasons, and I was on a up a minute ago, and then I was like, oh man, I got to think about what happened.
Pull up.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at. So look, as far as Matt Eberflus is concerned, certain things need to be said. First one being, all of the above is yet to be proven, right? Like he hasn't done anything as a coach. What he has done, so I'm like literally just gonna skip over all the bad stuff. We've all gone through it. We'll just skip over that and get to the good stuff. What he has done is he's basically pulled together a defense out of the woodwork last season, and by the end of the season, they were performing like a top 5 defense in the NFL and rallying around him as a head coach. These are good things, right? You just away from all the other stuff. So we're pulling up, 10 Bears. We're pulling up, bro. But in any event, that's what I'm saying about him. Like he's in a really good position. His team seems to be rallying around him. And now I'm going to step away from the head coach and look at the actual offensive coach too. Unless you were going to separate things, Nomad. No.
Perfect. I mean. Let me address Jason's not 199 super chat since he's talking about the
big defense. Up, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Man, he says the Don Rob make the big leap this year. I think Don Rob stands a bigger chance as he'll ever get to making that big leap. And if he was ever going to make a big leap, it's this coach that is going to bring that out of him. It's this coach that we have right now. He's widely considered, if not the best, one of the best in the NFL. Most people, when I hear people talk about Eric Washington, they say this dude is a straight up asset. This is what you need. He'll unlock whatever you got going on as a potential player and a playmaker. If he's got an opportunity to make a leap, which I do think he does, I think this is the coach that helps him get there. So that opportunity is on the table for him, Jason. So I think it's a good chance he does, but we'll see. Don't answer, kids. I was just answering this question.
Yeah. All right, I'll go back to coaching. So, like on the positive side, I'm happy about Shane Waldron. You know what I'm saying? I think I think Shane Waldron is actually going to be a very a straight up breath of fresh air over here. I think we're going to finally see what that West Coast offense was supposed to look like when Getsy was here and just didn't quite know what he was doing. What he's going to do with those tight ends, what he's going to do with this offense, the fact that apparently Caleb's had a little bit of access to what these guys are going to try to do a little bit ahead of time really bodes well. It helps things out. I have a feeling that he's going to walk into this offense and things are going to actually work, and we're going to be sitting there going, "Wow, you know what I mean? I haven't seen offense in Chicago in a really long time. This is what offense looks like again." Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm waiting for. So hopefully this coaching staff takes the challenge and accepts it and runs with it. I see those two particular coaches, head coach and offensive head coach, as the linchpins for me. What do you think, Tambres?
All right, it's time for another movie reference right there. Since you know, even my Flus is like my man in Flight with Denzel Washington. He the co-pilot, and that's what I'm talking about. So you know, see, like he did 100 flights where he could just chill, get on board, take you from where you know, holler at your stewardess, pop a couple of drinks, land the plane, everything cool. But it takes that one time. It's always one time where the damn wipers ain't something frozen, the engine, like we seeing it right now, doors flying off of planes, all kind of stuff, you know, Boeing has step or whatever, you know, whatever. And then my man is just like, yo, he like, bro, hey, I'm right now. I gotta just do something to just land this bad boy and just, hey, turn this bad boy over upside down, and we just, hey, find us the nearest clear field to land. And Flus is just like, it's a lot. It's so much. It's so much. I mean, now the one good thing though, see, that's why I said like Flight. He got some brothers underneath him who I think it is like, you know what I'm saying, that I think at the end of the day can make this thing just look a little bit better. And that's why I'm just saying, like, I don't know if, you know, the coaching staff, the way he posed and set it up, it's a lot of like, hey man, that game in Cleveland showed you, like, these games, this past couple years showed us, like, bruh, hey, you know, man, I think the coaching is there, Eric Washington, everybody there. I think Kerry Joseph is the one with this secret ingredient though. And I think that I think nobody really kind of peeps it, but I think because it's odd that you bring him with you. Because if Shane Waldron was this master magician and he knew every spell in the damn Harry Potter playbook, he would just come by himself. But he like, I'm bringing Kerry Joseph with me. So me thinks Kerry Joseph must got some of that little magic, little hoodoo magic that he be operating with on these quarterbacks that kind of help him. And I even if you look at the combine, he was the one kind of down there with Caleb too. So, you know, coaching is a B- right now, but it's more closer to a C because Flus has got to show me something. But it's on you, J2.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up with Eberflus's win-loss record. But what I really want to point out is that a quality head coach brings in quality assistant coaches. And what has Eberflus done this offseason? Brought in Eric Washington, brought in Shane Waldron. I'm blanking on his name. He's a running backs assistant offensive coordinator for Carolina last year. Last name Brown. But he's bringing in guys in coaching that are well known in the NFL. What's that?
Is it Thomas Brown?
Yes, Thomas Brown. Yes, quality coaches all through the NFL are coming to work with Eberflus. That right there is evidence enough that they believe in this guy. The players believe in this guy, and I believe in him too.
Go ahead, bud. Try not to hit the table when you get expressive now. I know you get hyped up, man.
I get fired up. I'm passionate about my Bears. Talking football, I get passionate. Maybe sometimes a little too passionate, but okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, the most important hire of all season, the most important move of the off season was hiring Shane Waldron. Because Shane Waldron is gonna have a say in a lot of the offensive success and the defense is success. And the reason I say the defense is success is because if Shane Waldron runs his offense like Luke Gessie ran his, we're going to be, that defense is going to be in a lot of, is going to be in trouble sometimes because they're going to be gassed. They're going to be tired. Just like how they got tired in the, just like how they got tired in that first Lions game. Like how they got tired in the in the Cleveland game, and like how they got tired in the Denver game. So he's the X factor. He was the most important hire of the season. I think I pray, but I really strongly in my heart of hearts believe we finally have the guy to run something of what an NFL offense should look like in Chicago. So I'm gonna say right now I'm with 10 Bears. I'm going CC plus because I still don't trust Eberflus. He talks the talk, but now you done had this will be your third year. It's time for you to walk the walk.
I'm gonna frame this up, and I'm gonna see what everybody thinks about what I'm about to lay out, because I got a little bit more interesting take about the coaching, and that's the part that I circle on this list, and I really pinpoint this right now. If you guys can remember back to when at the end of the season, it sounded like a really strong chance Eberflus wouldn't be back, right? Because the way that season ended was bad, and it was just not looking good. He gave up the goose one too many times, and it's like everybody had the question. It's like we on the outside being fans, if we're questioning it, the front office is questioning it, the general manager and everybody on down is questioning, is this the right guy? And so when J2K, and I'm not trying to disagree with him, I think the moves that were made in the offseason as far as these coaches and these assistants were a stopgap to if Eberflus isn't the guy. And so do we have quality assistants that can ascend to a head coaching role? I think they have a few of them. Thomas Brown being one. That guy really is really impressive. You have to check him out to see what I'm talking about. I can go on a day talking about him. Eric Washington most definitely can ascend as a head coach if Eberflus can't get the job done. You know what I worry about is he's got all these great assistants and all these good people that he's brought in, and being a head coach, sometimes you're heavy-handed. I've witnessed this and seen coaches with really good coaches around them and deciding that, I'm going to do it this way. It's my way. I want to do it this way, and completely at times disregarding a good assistant's point of view. I've seen that happen in real time during games, and I'm just like, golly, would he listen to this cat? And so we got these great assistants, but is Eberflus one of those guys that's gonna try to assume the position of I'm the head coach and we're gonna have to do this my way? I don't know. And so that's why I question whether or not we have the we'll find out, I think, pretty early whether or not he's giving these coaches, these assistants, the leeway that I think they deserve and I think they should have to make some changes and to give this team a chance, especially in those critical moments. It always comes down to 5, 4, 5, 6 plays, and giving that defense an opportunity in particular to close games out, being aggressive when you need to be aggressive. Those are the issues I have with Eberflus. He got so conservative that teams like a Detroit, they shouldn't have won that game at home. Shouldn't have. But Eberflus got that conservative and, was making silly looking calls. And I'm just like, dog, you gotta put your foot on the gas. And so hopefully we got the guys in place now that can help him along in that way. But I'm going to pass it to you guys one more time and let you guys respond to that. I know that was a strong take, but that's what I think happened in the offseason. I think those guys were hired. I think Eberflus might have had a say or two on a few guys, but I think those guys like Thomas Brown, Eric Washington were guys specifically to make sure that if this ain't going right with Flus, we got some backup. I'll let you guys take it from there.
You might be right there. What I think right away is I think Eric Washington was really the answer to Flus being super vanilla with his fronts. That's really what it was. The one time you guys know he wasn't vanilla, you're trying to get exotic with a blitz. We get burned because he put he sent Justin Jones in a coverage. That was like the one exotic blitz he tried to do because he was forced into it because he's been vanilla for weeks. Now you got a guy who's got a little bit of a blitzing mind and things could be a little bit more exotic when the need be. So I think that's really where Eric Washington comes in. On the other side, I think a guy like Shane Waldron, as well as Kerry Joseph and Thomas Brown, they are all part of a system that sort of went together. I know Kerry is a great quarterback. Well, was a decent quarterback in his time from his time here. I know that he spent the rest of his time really grooming quarterbacks. So I think he's in a great place. I think Thomas Brown is in a great place to help these offensive playmakers that we're just talking about grow into their roles. So, all of the stuff I'm talking about in all reality is yet to be seen. I have some faith this time around that I think it might just click because I think these guys have done a little bit of it during their time in the last few places they've been, whether that's Buffalo or Seattle or even with the Rams. They've done a little bit of these things. So I have a little bit of faith that it might just work out this time around too. Timbers, what do you think, bro?
I'm gonna shout out to my man Do It All 36 in the chat. The song I was listening to today was sung by Nas off the Godson album, and it's called Mastermind. And Pose is a mastermind. See, like I said, to the uninitiated, Pose, you know what I'm saying? He all these moves, but to the initiated, you see right through him. Because if you a mastermind and I'm a mastermind, then we ain't got, like he said, let's not stand on ceremony. You know what I'm saying? Let's get down. So his moves, he's insulated and built the infrastructure underneath Flus. See, at the end of the year, the questions was, see, Pose ain't gonna come out like he showed you. He ain't gonna come out and say, well, I don't know why we lost. He just gonna start paying. You see, Pose the type of guy, see him go take that credit card and go to Home Depot, and he start buying up paint and buying up damn 2x4s and plywood, and you like, yo, what you doing? And he says, well, just in case we might need something, I'm just buying this. Next thing you know, is a contractor showing up talking about, are you ready for me to start working? Yeah, he ain't telling nobody. But to somebody who watching it and can peep out what he doing, he couldn't. He see, and during the season he said it. So he got questions on Flus. But what he did was he's like, oh, know what? To straight cut Flus out and 86, this whole thing is going to basically put me on Front Street. So instead of me being on Front Street, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hire an offensive guy, another offensive guy, because the team ain't going to help me pick this offense. That's why he went to McCaskey and like, yo, I kind of know what's going on. I just need to go get my guy. I don't need y'all to give me another guy handoff. I want to go pick me a guy. Go. So he went got Waldron and Kerry Joseph. And then what he did with Flus is he said, I'm not really sure about him, but I'm gonna get a guy because what happened last year? The defensive coordinator fell out. We had a catastrophe over there during the middle of the season. That was Flus's guy. So you don't get to see all these moves. That's what I'm saying. To a chess player, you recognize it like a lot of times when the cat lose their queen, they just quit. But you peep the whole game out. So when it fell apart last year, he had to go tonight, come back and go get another defensive coordinator and put underneath Flus. So in any other walk of life, bro, that just smells thin ice that you on. And I don't know, but maybe I'm reading into it too deep. But like I said, I like to think I'm with it. So, but J2K, it's on you.
Well, I think the big question here that I'm hearing is Flus responsible for the assistant coaches that were brought in, or is Ryan Poles? Now, we have 2 years to look at. We've got this year that we brought in some really good assistant coaches. We have 2 years ago when we brought in Getsy. So do you blame Flus for Getsy, or do you blame Ryan Poles? Do you praise Flus for Eric Washington and Shane Waldron, or do you praise Ryan Poles? Like, make it make sense, right? Who's in charge of getting the coaches? And from my understanding, Flus is in charge of getting the coaches. I'm sure him and Ryan Poles have conversations about who they bring in and who they're looking at, but coaches are going to be coaching with other coaches. Ryan Poles is going to be in there in the press box. He's going to be looking at the overall roster, the player personnel. He's not in that coaching room. The coaches are in the coaching room. I see you disagreeing with me, 10 Bears.
Real quick, J2K.
Yeah.
Here's an indicator. If you notice that right after the season, that it wasn't an effusive, Flus is our coach. You didn't see that right at the end of the season. They went through a process, right?
Really? I disagree. I think that he was very adamant about not even giving Harbaugh a phone call, and he said so. Okay. I don't think there was any point in any conversation that Poles or Flus had with the media that Poles said there was Flus was possibly not the head coach or gave any indication. In fact, quite the opposite. I think Poles was steadfast that Eberflus is the head coach. Why would I call Jim Harbaugh?
Okay, what if I agreed with you and said, okay, that could be the case, but we, in our evaluation, we felt like the defensive line was really, really lacking, and we're going to bring you back, but we want to bring in a guy more experienced that can really, really help you out along in that way. And in comes Eric Washington. I don't know.
Well, Eberflus doesn't coach the D-line. He's the head coach, right? So they went and targeted a good defensive line coach to be the defensive line coach with a title of defensive coordinator. Flus is still calling the defense.
So I think it may have a lot more to do with Ryan Poles than you're alluding, and I'm not fully in disagreement with what 10 Bears is saying. There's some interesting pieces here, because one of the major things that was identified with Luke Getsy, if we're looking at the offensive side, was that he couldn't really adjust midway through the game, or when adjustments were made on him, he couldn't make a secondary adjustment. Generally running through that script, and once the script is over, problems. So that was one of the criteria for whoever they're bringing in, and they decided to bring in Waldron in that case. It looks to me like with the coaching staff, they actually looked at specific areas of failure and went and kind of attacked those specific areas of failure. And I don't know if that is, I feel like that's more of a Ryan Poles thing, even if he let Flus go and get the guys, interview the guys, and hire the guys. But hey, look, you're looking for somebody who can adjust. You're looking for somebody who's more exotic with the defensive line. You're looking for you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I.
Why don't you give Flus credit for that? You don't think that Flus said, "Hey, I think we need more variations on our defensive line. Our offensive coordinator, I didn't trust the guy, so I played."
I think he's too conservative, J2K. I think he's too conservative, man. I think
maybe
that's a good answer.
Flus. But my question isn't whether you like Flus or not personally. It's just I don't understand how you guys are bleeding this coaching hire stuff over to Ryan Poles.
Here's where I'm at. So this is a great conversation. So I'm thinking about like there was a couple of games last season where Poles was watching the games and being like, why would he have called that as opposed to this? And you could visibly see him questioning it. And when you could visibly see the GM questioning why certain calls were being made, at the very least, a conversation is going to be had. So when that conversation is had and he identifies where the issue is, now it's technically going to be up to the coach. Like I'll put it in the coach's lap now and say, now, coach, he had a problem with those calls. you should probably go get a guy who's going to make the right calls in those situations, and go get a guy. But either way, it probably comes back to the GM knocking on his door and going, bro, like, what did you do yesterday? Why would you run that? Or why would you have allowed that to have been run?
I don't know if it's that simple. I think NFL teams are far more wired in with analytics, and coaches understand what a good play call was and a bad play call. They understand who their assistants are and their coaches are with them, and who's doing well and who's failing. And, I understand giving Ryan Poles a lot of credit for building this team overall. I'm not understanding why Flus isn't in that category. We have great assistant coaches. Certain positions have excelled. Linebacker, secondary. That's more of Flus's arena, really. Brought in Eric Washington to work with that defensive line when that wasn't working out. I mean, I'm just not understanding why Flus is getting kicked to the curb on failures and successes, and it's all right.
I'll give you the Coles Notes answer on this, right? The Coles Notes answer is because he ain't done nothing in the NFL worth a note up to now.
Hold on,
right? And that's being held against. Hold on a second. That's being held against them a little bit. So once they actually get to playing with this new staff and start to see some success with the new staff, perhaps he'll get a little bit more credit for it.
Let me help this out, because I think what J2K, I think I know where he's going. It's like everybody's pouring all this praise on Poles for what's happening structurally, the pieces that have been put in place, the coaches and all that kind of stuff. I get that. I think Flus is just as responsible for the structure and everything that's been put in place as Ryan Poles to an extent. I think at the end of the season, I think there was a meeting of the minds that didn't have anything to do with Flus. This is just me guessing, J2K. This is just me watching the timing of how everything played out, and I'm just using my good discernment to determine. I'm like, if I'm them, I'm going to question whether Matt Eberflus is the right guy because of some of those games that he gave up the goose. I'm going to question him, and I'm going to, before we get to meeting with Matt Eberflus, I'm talking about the GM, the assistant GM, the president, and all those people that meet without Flus. They came to an agreement about what they think were the needs before they met with Matt Eberflus and got his take on what he thought were the needs. And I believe if they're good managers, they felt like, okay, Flus, you could probably use some help in this department. That's all I'm saying. If that makes any sense, man. But
I'm open to the fact that Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham sat down and did general manager stuff, which includes coaching, assistant coaching, players, draft, all that kind of stuff. But from what I've seen with Poles is that he is very tight to the hip with Flus. Those two guys have always been the face of this franchise from the first interview when they were hired. Every single time they come out, you don't see that distance when Ryan Pace and John Fox are sitting there after the Mitch Trubisky draft pick, and John Fox is like a deer in headlight, had no idea, didn't see any of this coming through at all, and Ryan Pace just completely cut him out. I haven't seen that with Flus and Poles. I've seen a tight duo of guys. So if there's criticism to be made, I think it should be balanced more equally. And if there's praise to be made, the same. But if you're talking specifically about coaching, my opinion is that I give praise and failure to Flus for coaches. I mean, Getsy was not a good hire at the end of the day, right?
But wait,
it's fair to criticize.
We gotta get ready. I gotta take the steering wheel right here, man, because I knew it was going to be a testy subject.
Good conversation we had, honestly. The coaching piece, very good.
I'll tell you what. This is what we'll do. We'll come back to this because this is where I had circled, and I felt like before we got when I gave this list to J2K, I was like in my head, I'm saying this is going to be a testy conversation about the coaching because I think it's going to be about 50-50 how people would go. It's worth having this conversation. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to it. I'm gonna ask the chat. I'm gonna ask everybody in the chat. Do you feel we check the boxes as far as the coaches? And I'm not just talking about Flus. I'm talking about the people around him, the offensive coordinator, his assistants, defensive coordinator, his assistants, and everything that we got going on. I'm gonna give it a question mark right now until they show me they've gotten over the hump. And that's my opinion. I'm gonna pass it to kids. Just be real quick. You check the box.
Bro, I'm gonna be as quick as I've ever been because I'm questioning marking too. There it is, bro. All right. 10 Bears, what do you think?
Question mark, man. It's easy, like I said, it's just a question mark. I mean, I get what he's saying, but to me, it's just, you know. But I want to let Petty get in because he get in, but you know what I'm saying. But
my bad, Petty.
J2K, y'all, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm question mark with that.
Oh, I hear you guys, and I love the conversation. It was fun. I agree. I think I would give it a check mark. I'm probably more optimistic about Flus and the assistant head coaches that were brought in this year. I actually have more of a question mark on Shane Waldron, more so because it's a rookie quarterback. What he did with Geno Smith being a veteran quarterback, you see the success there, but does that translate with Caleb Williams, and how does Shane Waldron handle Caleb Williams? That's my overall question mark. Overall, I give it a check. I think we do have the coaches. Petty, apologize for taking up all the mic, so I'll pass it over to you. Let us know how you feel.
Okay, so no man, I know you said you was gonna come back today. I just want to say this. Pose may have not made the final decision, but he had some say now. Whether it been during the interview process or he didn't just let the Flus hire these guys and didn't give his opinion at least. So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say question mark because I still don't trust Flus, man. You blow 3 games because you get scared to keep your foot. You take your foot off the gas, man. Yeah, I'm a question mark. I still don't trust Flus. He got to show me something.
Well, you guys pretty well know what I'm feeling, man. I think most of the people in the chat, it was a question mark. He had some checks too. You know, there's a lot of people. Now I say I give it a question mark, and I'm gonna give this caveat to it because I've seen this happen in real time as well. I've seen, and Flus is only his 3rd year being a head coach, and being a head coach is all about not only creating a structure and creating a temperament and creating the environment for your team to flourish, but when it comes to in-game situations, it's about number one, not messing it up. All you got to do for the most part as a head coach is stay out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Number one. Number two is, you know, you got coordinators that make these calls. He was a coordinator last year, and so you got to give him the responsibility for the defensive failings. And so he didn't make the right calls last year. You got to make spot calls and good judgments at the right time. So, you know, from that standpoint, he is still the defensive coordinator, as said by himself. And he still got question marks, from my opinion. And I'll just leave that there, and we'll move on to the attitude. But if you guys want to come back to coaching later on, we can. Attitude. This should be a real quick conversation here. I'll pass it to Kez and I'll clean it up later. Do we have the attitude on this team?
Maybe. I'll keep it quick. I think they actually do have the attitude. Hits principle is really what that is, and it kind of equates to that attitude. I just don't know if these new kids have it. So, you know, give me a couple of weeks until after this training camp is done, and I'll tell you what I see. After training camp was done last season, I saw a whole lot of hits principle. First couple of weeks, didn't see it. But by the end of training camp, you've seen some, like Michael Baskerville was out there just hitting anything that moved out there. And that's what I'm talking about. So if we see a little bit more of that come the end of this training camp, attitude isn't a problem. They're training for attitude. 10 Bears, what do you think, bro?
I give it. I say they got the attitude, man. You know, like I said, when you your first, I seen a lot of people start off that freshman year. Your parents done bought you some new sneakers and got you some new clothes. You real excited about freshman year, but give it a little minute. Give it a little minute. You got 4 more to go. So you know, everybody feeling good right now. But let's move a little bit forward. But they got the attitude, like you said, kids. They the new kids on the block. They got a hit song coming out the gate. We got to see if they got some staying power. Because with new kids, I think they had they was on MTV for a little minute. They wasn't on there for a long time. They was on there for a minute, but they was hot when they was on there though. But what you guys say, J2K?
Please don't go girl for you, buddy. But it's all good. Sorry.
The secondary, man. There is tons of attitude in that secondary. I love it. And then I actually want to kind of shift this a little bit. We're just talking about good attitude, positive attitude, the right attitude for a Super Bowl run. I love what Ryan Poles and Flus are doing, bringing in the right type of characters who have the type of attitude that teammates first. They're professionals. They're good people. They're well spoken. They're all good people, you know. So I'm gonna definitely give it a check mark, Mr. Patty Murphy. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking check mark. I'm thinking check mark. Now, one thing I'm thinking check mark, and I'm not going to say too much because that's for the next topic, resilience. But I'm thinking check mark. I mean, just think of all the characters on this team: Caleb, DJ, JJ, Jaquan, DeMarcus, Montez. Yeah, we definitely have the attitude. So that's a check mark.
All right. So here's my take on the attitude. I think, and here's why I do give Flus a bunch of credit. He's brought in a lot of guys that have this similar mindset. These guys that love football, they're people, and you know what I mean. And that mixes well in the locker room. And so you got a bunch of guys that are nice guys, good guys that play well together. You know, all that kind of stuff is important to keeping the structure of your team together. And you know, they do have that can-do spirit about them, and the hits principle, all that stuff that comes with them. Here's what I think they need on that team. I think they don't have enough. I think they need 1 or 2 more nasty guys. I think they need a couple more nasty guys on that team. I don't know where they're going to get them from, but I think every team needs a little bit of nasty. But I'm not going to not give them a check for attitude because I do think they got the right mixture of guys going on. But I think they need a couple more nasty guys, man. I think those guys, those temperamental guys, those, you know, people might criticize me and say, if I'm going to say Montez Burfict, right? Montez Burfict, very intelligent football player, did dumb shit on the field all the time. But if you notice, that guy was never benched. Got fined a whole hell of a lot by the NFL, but never benched. Why? It's because the head coach liked what that guy brought to the table. Got James Harrison, plays all the way up to the whistle. You know, people will criticize something like that, but that guy, that's what you want as a coach. You need guys that play all the way up into the whistle and in between the lines. And so, you know, I love what they have going on as far as attitude. I absolutely love it. And I give Flus 99.9% of the credit for it because he created that atmosphere. He created that structure. And so structurally, Flus is excellent when it comes to that team bonding and all that kind of stuff. That there's several variables that you need in your locker room as far as that word attitude goes. And they've gotten the right pieces in there to gel well together. So I'm checking that box right quick. Yes, I'm checking that. That attitude, I like it, but I still think they need a couple of nastier dudes in that locker room that can play all the way up to the whistle, man. We need guys like that. But resilience. I don't know what you guys think. I think when it comes to resilience, but I know everybody knows the definition of resilience. But kids, before I take any meat off the bone, How do you think we check that box as far as resilience goes?
This one's I'll give you my question. I'll say it's a question mark now. I don't know. There's no way I can really determine this. I think that they could be a resilient team, but injury just happens. So the things that I'm going to say is going to be more rooted in depth. I think this team has some pretty decent depth in most areas. With again a huge question mark on certain areas of the offensive line and certain areas of the defensive line. Like that's where depth becomes a question mark. But that being said, guys are gonna get hurt. You know, I like what happens if a guy gets hurt in the wide receiver room, CBs, linebacker.
I meant more like when you're down. Do you have that can-do spirit that we got the whole second half to play in, and just because you got down that more 8 points don't mean you.
I consider that more attitude. For me, resilience is more of a team thing, rooted in injury and depth. And as long as we have that depth and we can when I see resilience, the name that comes up to me is Tevin Jenkins. That's the name that pops. His face pops into my head. And I think Tevin is an elite talent on the offensive line. I hope we can get 15 games out of him this year. If we do, I think Tevin will be a Chicago Bear for a very long time. If we don't, question mark, resilience.
Go ahead, Tim.
Leave it there. 10 Bears.
Well, you know, now we getting into the meat of the lineup right here, the 3, 4, 5 hitters right there. So, you know, like you said, the attitude was gonna lead to your resilience. And they like Bruce Lee told him, said, man, boys don't hit back. They ain't been hit yet. So I want to see them get hit. I want to see them take a stand in 8 count. Have stuff go wrong, have everything go in there. They got to get that one L where all of this blew up in their face, and somebody come up in there and put paws on them real bad, and they got to go back to the shed, and they done lost 2 or 3 in a row, and they got to circle the wagons and get a must win and all that. You know, all the cliches. You got to find. That's what the cliches. That's what the reason for the cliches. So we gotta see if they really a dog. We gotta see, you know, when they, you know, it's a lot of dogs like to bark when they inside the fence. You take that fence away and be like, come on, let's rock. I want to see them rock and roll. So right now it's a question mark on resilience for me right now. I think they could handle a little bit of adversity, but that's where we going back. What's your videotape on resilience? Because last year we got some dogs on the defensive side, but then you say we need a little bit more energy. We need some more fire for the wood. I thought we burned hot enough, but you saying they ain't hot enough on defense. Need them Montez, Burvick, you know, a Charles Haley, somebody come up in there and stir the pot and get it cooking even more hotter. And on offense, I mean, Keenan Allen, I think he gonna bring some resilience, but man, like I said, we gonna see. But right now it's a question mark for me.
All right, so I think back to the first year under Poles and Flus, and we lacked the talent, and Poles had to get rid of a lot of guys to balance out the cap, and we just did not have the players to compete every single game, but they showed up. Flus's hits principle, the hustle was there, run to the ball, playing as hard as you can. It was all there, even though we still lost games. So I see the resilience with the guys who have been here for the last 2 years. Now we do have a lot of new faces this year. We got a couple rookies that haven't faced this adversity. So I'm very curious, especially Caleb Williams, how he handles a loss, how he handles not playing well. And we saw that at USC when he lost Jordan Addison, is a top wide receiver. How did he handle that? And does he handle that the same way with the Chicago Bears? So right now, I would say that the coaching and the vets and the players that have been here, they have that resilience and they've shown it. It's a big question mark for Caleb Williams. Petty Murphy, what do you think?
I'm gonna go check mark, and here's why. You don't lose 14 games in a row and not lose the locker room. Name me a coach in the past 10 15 years. Excuse me. Name me a coach in the past 10, 15 years who started out 1 or 3 and what was it? 15. Let's see, they lost 10, 14, 3 and 14. Name me a coach in the past 10, 15 years that started out 3 and 14 and didn't have his guys start to question whether or not he was the guy to lead that locker room or to lead the team.
I will say none of the coaches of the Detroit Lions.
I'm sorry, who?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Kid, see, there you go, kid. Starting. Anyway, man, it's a big check mark for me, man. Like I said, you don't lose 14 games and not lose the locker room, man. I mean, they stuck with that man. I'm talking about the fans were calling for his head. Everybody was saying 5 poles, and then of course we know how they was doing Justin. So, man, you know, I'm sorry. That's it. That's my point. You don't lose 14 games and not lose the locker room, man. I'm sorry. 14 games in a row. You lose 10 to close out the season, and then you start out 0-4. Oh, and not to mention the 4th game that you lost. You were up 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Like, yeah, nah. They definitely have resilience.
Well, I think what Petty's talking about is not to be sneezed at. And he's leaning more towards the coaches, what the coach has instilled in his locker room and in his players. You know, the fact that, you know, they kept grinding no matter how bad it got. You know, they ground it out, and they played for Coach Flus. I think the resilience in the way I see it is what he said, is what everybody said, but also is that spirit that, you know what, you get out 28-0 in the first half, you getting your ass kicked. You getting your ass kicked all over the place. And you know, your average person, your average team that's a pack it up. This game is over. We don't have a chance to win this. But in order for you to be able to excel and really give yourself a chance to be a contender, you have to treat that game as a winnable one, even if all the odds are stacked against you. Resilience, that's what resilience means to me, that when all odds are stacked against you, what do you got in you? Show me who you are then. And so to that point, Petty Murphy just said, I wasn't even thinking about that when I said this, when I came up with that point to make this graphic. I wasn't even thinking about it until he said it. But that's something I've thought about since Flus got here, was that element that he brings to the table, that he gets these guys to run through a wall for him. And so we still need to know if this team, because every team from year to year is a little bit different than the last one, or a lot of bit different than the last one. And so with that being considered, are they resilient enough to be contenders? I would say in the past, you know, the teams he had in the past, yeah. But right now I'm giving it a question mark. I think that's something you definitely have to see in order to believe. I think that resilience piece is a question mark for me. I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, you giving that a check or you giving that a question mark? I'm going to wait and see on this one. I'm a lean check, but I'm going to wait and see and give it a question mark. But let's move over to accountability. Do we have accountability on this team? I think this is a pretty easy one, too. I don't think this team lacks in that department, but I'll pass it on to kids before I eat the meat up. Pause.
Well, sorry. Yeah, I don't know on this one, man. That was funny, Nomad. I don't know on this one, though. I don't know. And let me map out why I'm gonna give this one a question mark. I hope I hope you guys can take this in some completely different directions, because my head is stuck on the center position last season and why Matt Eberflus, very specifically in a CEO role, wasn't able to manage whatever was happening with those snaps. Like that, and that's I'm not talking about Luke Getsy, I'm not talking about Lucas Patrick, and I'm not talking about Cody Whitehair. Like that is what it is. I'm talking about Matt Eberflus's accountability for what's going on with those things. And that's where I have to give it a little bit of a question mark for me. But outside of that, I'll throw it down to you guys, so I'll leave some meat for y'all to chew on. 10 Bears.
Well, man, like I said, so we got the third hit on base, got the fourth hit on base. Now we coming back to the fifth, accountability. Going back to the last thing, I don't know why. The funny thing about these issues, it's like a comic book. The funny thing about these issues, the episodes that y'all want to hype up was the episodes that there was. Unfortunately, we got it. Those was issues that Justin Fields was he was the one who picked up the hammer, put the cape on, jumped into the crowd chamber, do whatever you want to call it. He was the one out there. The first year, he the one. It was him in the defense that went up to New England. The New England, where a place where the Bears then got some of the Bears then got some hands put on them up in New England. That I'm telling you, I got friends who Patriot fans and other fans. I couldn't even say nothing. I just had to crawl up underneath a rock. Them games, the way they beat us down. But those was games that he handled. All the accountability, the resilience, the attitude, all that started from the leadership position. So that's what I'm sitting there saying. This is a big question mark because, like we said, going back to the accountability, if this thing starts to tinker and fall apart and them fingers start pointing at each other, everybody going, and Lord forbid if this stuff goes left after having hard knocks, and then a little bit down in the Midwest to the left of you, you got some kid going wild and got all of Western Pennsylvania going crazy. Oh, then and all these David Kaplans and all these guys and all these loudmouths gonna sit there, and then Caleb, then it's gonna be all the hype is gonna be, hey, Caleb, what you like? You like hot sauce on your butt, or you want some pause? You know what I'm saying? Or you want some of this Liam Perrins? Because we gonna get on you. Hey, is accountability is a check mark. I mean, a question mark, man. J2K, you can rock.
All right. So I think the question, there's some layers to this. So I look at this as when issues popped up with this team, have people been held accountable, or have they been accountable for the issues? I see the Chase Claypool trade. Ryan Poles came out and said, hey, I made a mistake. Ownership said, hey, you keep doing you, keep cooking. Mistakes going to happen. Well, we understand that. I think Matt Eberflus saw that Getsy wasn't the guy at offensive coordinator, and as well as our wide receiver coach, and stepped up and said, hey, I don't think those guys are the guys. I'm going to take accountability for this. I'm going to bring in the right guys. So I do see this as a check mark in that aspect.
Petty, just back up. Just keep back a little bit. Don't lean forward, Petty. There you go.
Got it. I'm going to say question mark. And the reason I'm going to say question mark is because, like I said, the reason I'm going to say question mark is because to start the season, there was zero accountability from Allen, from not only Eberflus, but Allen from Luke Getsy, and Allen Williams. 0. It was always the players are not doing this. The players are not doing that. 0. Now, eventually, I would say after the acquisition of Montez Sweat, Flu started to take accountability. Like for example, the Cleveland game that when he had called a play where he had Justin Jones leaking out to cover David Njoku. And I remember a reporter asking him what was he thinking during that, calling that play. And he was explaining what he was thinking. And even though he didn't know what he was thinking, he did take accountability and say, that was the wrong play call. I thought it was going to work out better because we had practice. We ran the play in practice and, we ran it to perfection. It's just unfortunately, they had the personnel to beat that. So I made a bad decision in that time. But that's one of the very few times I have seen Eberflus take accountability, so I have to go question mark. I need to see more accountability. And like Tim Bear said, what if this thing goes left to start the season? And then, fingerprinting. We're going to have to really see if he can really keep this team together because you got a rookie quarterback. When you was keeping that team together, Justin was the quarterback. So I want to see how they respond and if they take accountability if things don't start off the way everybody expects them to.
So here's my take when it comes to accountability, and this goes from top to bottom, and I don't think you can look at it in any other way than the very top, and that's the front office. Accountability means did you do what was necessary to put the pieces together around to structure this team to give them the best opportunity. As of now, I'm feeling like they've done their part as far as the front office goes. I think the accountability is there on their end. Bring it on down to the coaching staff. Here's why I would question that again, because if Flus and Getsy, it's like I know Getsy's not here, so let me just take him out of the picture. Let's just talk about Flus. If the problems weren't repetitive, I wouldn't have a whole lot to say about this subject at all because I think there's mostly accountability in the building. If the problems weren't repetitive, the problems that ailed us during the season last year and the year before that, repetitive things like being conservative or the offense he keeps calling the same plays to not, get the effect. I mean, if you're not getting the effect that you desire, do something else, right? And so accountability starts at the top, goes to the middle, and goes to the bottom. And so I'm going to wait to see about the accountability in the coaching department because they've left me a lot of meat on the bone to talk about that. So I'll wait. But as far as the players go, I have no doubts in my mind that they've established that amongst each other. And the coach has done a great job to make sure that that's established. We have accountability amongst each other. I hear Flus talking about that often at the podium, talking about how well we treat each other, how much we respect each other and love on each other. And all that kind of stuff is one man, you know better than the man next to you, kind of attitude that I relate to very well, being a part of team sports all my life. It got more and more thick the older I got and the level I went up, so that stuff is important. I mean, so important to it's a level to accountability that can make or break a team. You know what I mean? Like if there's no accountability, we got that in the building, but if there was none in there, you'd have all kinds of wild, crazy going on. You never hear anything about these cats getting out of control, during that downtime. You very rarely hear things like that. And so that's how there's accountability on their level of it. So on the top level, I think there's accountability. Flus and the coaching staff going to have to show me something, but I definitely think it's there for the players. And as of right now, I would give that a check. And so, guys, let me know in the chat, what do you think that is? I think that's a check because I think they got 2 out of 3 in my eyes. So accountability is there as far as I'm concerned. So let me know if it's a check or a question mark. Let's move on to leadership. I think this is another easy one for me, but I'll pass it on to the Kmet.
Yeah, I got a question mark there too. I got a couple of them apparently throughout this six. I got a couple of them. So like the question mark for me right there is it starts with Caleb Williams, and I'd like to think that he'd be an amazing leader. I just have no idea whether he is or is not. So as we move forward and we get to see what kind of leader he grows into, I'll leave that there with him. I don't, given the previous case scenario, the accountability piece, and my thoughts there, I left a lot of meat on the bone. Y'all didn't even touch it. I'll be honest with you, but I will leave it alone there and just sort of say that I have my own questions about Flus as that in that CEO role. My hope is that the new leadership comes in and makes it so that he doesn't have to really be as much of a CEO as he should be. Right? Like, I'm hoping that guys like Eric Washington come in here and do damage. I'm hoping that Shane Waldron comes in here and does damage on the offensive side and truly owns it. And if we see that increased leadership from these new characters, these new assistants, these new coaches, then yeah, there could be leadership in the building. But I got to say that I got to wait and see it. I can't put the cart before the horse on that. Tim Bears, what do you think, brother?
Man, leadership. Now we at the end of the lineup, man. Leadership. It's a question mark. It's a big question mark. I mean, we got people who can assume the role of leadership. Like I said, there's people on the Avengers you can choose, but like the qualities that make you a leader. There's like just like even in our everyday life. There's like You can have a moms can assume the role of a papa if he ain't there, but if your papa there, there's a reason. The reason and the meaning define the terms. So it's like, the leadership, the manual leadership. It's a reason for it. There's certain characteristics and qualities that you have to exhibit, and we didn't exhibit them. We didn't exhibit them for whatever reason. Now, like you said, we show glimpses of resilience. We show glimpses of this. We show glimpses of that. Because just like you could say like this in the last game of the season, everybody wanted to go up to Green Bay with a quarter of a team and beat the Green Bay Packers when they playing for a playoff. Like, I think about this, man. It's been few cats that I'm like, bro, you come to Asgard and challenge me. You gotta bring a whole lot of lunch. I ain't losing no fight in front of my crib. I don't know about you. Now you person that lose the fight inside your house, inside your crib, I challenge Jason Voorhees step up in here and find. I don't know where everything is for you even get a hold of a knife. So I'm saying there like, Jack, hey, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know like how we expect that, but that's like we saying like with leadership. No accountability, the leadership, you're going to go up there half stand. If we had leadership, Jaylon Johnson would have been like, yo, but he was like, yo, nah, they ain't want to take care of me with my bread, so I'm sitting this one out. I got a hamstring. Come on, man. If this is a playoff game and this is a super game, get to the Super Bowl. Like you said, we get to the Super Bowl. You got a half a hammy. You playing or you not? That's leadership. That's sucking it up. That's sitting there going, look, man, I'm down. I'm Ronnie Lott. I'm getting my damn fingers and toes amputated to play. Who we got that's doing that? I don't know who we got that's going to do that just yet. I don't know who we got that's going to dive on grenades just yet. So that's a question mark. J2K.
I hope they don't have to dive on no grenades. Go ahead.
That's what you got to do, though. That's what you got to do to get the
nobody. The hell with that. But go ahead.
Hi.
No, I love that. That's a great take, Tim Bears. I think I'm enjoying being the optimist for once. To be honest with everybody, I think a few years ago people were like, "J2K, why do you hate Ryan Poles?" And I'm like, I don't hate him. I'm just being critical of him in a fair way, But I do think there is a good blend of veterans on this team. I think there's a good blend of veteran coaches on this team who've been around for a while and have a lot of respect in the league. I think Ryan Poles is a fantastic leader. And I think that Kevin Warren coming in, I think he's been a very good leader at the very top of the whole organization. And I also want to throw Ian Cunningham in there because I think his work should not be discounted, even if he's just the assistant GM. Patty Murphy, what do you think?
I got a question mark. Because we don't know we don't know what kind of leader Caleb will be just yet. So we still got question marks on leadership. Now, I'm not sure who said it, but we do have players on this team that can be leaders. But it all plays with that. It all depends on how well they mesh, like building that chemistry. Chemistry is important, in my opinion, building and leading to leadership. If you don't have chemistry, you're not going to have leadership. So right now, I got to go question mark. That's why I'm anxious for the season to start so I can see how these guys look playing together.
Yes, sir. So here, I'm going to give them a check. And I'm going to say this, and please don't think I'm being one of those people that's patting themselves on the back about, my life. But in my life, I can speak intimately about leadership because I've been placed in leadership all my life or assumed leadership roles all my life. I know that intimately. I know what a leader looks like. I know what he sounds like. I know how he walks, how he talks, the whole 9 yards. And I see leaders in that locker room. I'll point them out to you. Most definitely, what's his name? Number 95. Jaylon's a leader, definitely a leader.
Montez.
Montez is not a vocal leader. No. Tremaine is a leader. I'm thinking about 95. I can't think of his name right now. I'm having a brain fart because I'm saucy up a little bit.
Dexter?
No, 95. What? That's DeMarcus Walker. Definitely a leader. Definitely a leader. Kevin Byard, definitely a leader. I can see Jaquan Brisker. He is brimming. He is pretty close to definitely being a leader. He is a leader. What role he's playing in leadership on this team. Do we have the leadership on the offense? Keenan Allen is definitely a leader. DJ Moore is a leader in his own quirky way. He's got a quirky way about it, but he is a leader. Now we get to guys like Caleb Williams. I think Caleb definitely has leadership traits. He can be. It's about the type of leader you are. And at the end of the day, it's about the type of leader you are. Are you a calm, assertive leader? Are you one of those chaotic and potentially toxic leaders? And so let's say, for instance, from Caleb's standpoint, he definitely can't go and talk to DJ and Keenan the way he would go and approach Tyler, Bayless, or the rookie wide receiver, right? So it's about who you're talking to and how you're talking to them. It's the way you do everything. And so I think Caleb, when he understands that he's talking to pros, millionaire pros, that he will get that pretty quickly if he hasn't already, that he knows that he can't go and approach these guys the way he was talking to his college teammates, which he kind of took care of for the most part. If he gets that down, I think he can be a fine leader. But right now, from his perspective, he'll have to show me so I can believe it. But leadership, I think they do have the pieces in the locker room on both sides of the ball. I think that's one of the things I think the coach and the coaching staff and the GM went out and made sure that they put in that locker room. I don't know what all I think y'all. I don't know. I see leaders in a different light maybe than some people, but I think there are several leaders in that locker room, so I'm giving them a check. But anything else you guys want to talk about that? How about in the chat, man? You guys let me know if you think there's leadership in the building, good enough leadership to make a Super Bowl run, because that's what the conversation is all about. I think it's a check. I think they got that box checked. So let me know if it's a check or it's a question mark. But go ahead, kid.
Yeah. I'm good with the leadership piece considering it all. I want to actually do something a little bit different, if you don't mind. And we're getting towards the end of the show. Consider again towards the end of the show. My guy, the Scrolls, is killing the chat tonight. He's killing the chat, and I just want to give him a little bit of love and read some of the awesome his awesome chats tonight, because I've been trying not to die laughing this entire episode, and most of it has to do with the Scrolls.
It ain't nothing vulgar.
No, nothing vulgar at all. So so Petty is trafficking pigeons. So
Hey, the Scrolls. Hey, chill on me, man. You only on my case because I advocated for Justin. Chill on me, man. Chill on me.
I had to throw that one out. That was great. That was funny. That's funny. Here's the next one. This one. Luce looks like Morris Chestnut.
How the hell Luce look like Morris Chestnut, man?
He don't. But that's why it's super fun.
And Morris Chestnut and Boys in the Hood.
Trust me, there's some good ones, man. Here's another one. Don, Lord of No Rings.
Oh wow.
Lord of No Rings. That's great stuff. The Scrolls, I'm telling you, the Scrolls are on fire today. Every other team in the North has a shiny new Ferrari at QB, and Detroit wins 200 mil for a Chevy. These are great. These are classic. This is a classic. The Scrolls. The Scrolls is on Spotlight. There's a spotlight on the Scrolls right now. Night. And this is the final one. This was for you, Tim. 10 Bears look like Vince Carter in his 18th season.
I dig it. Hey, Vince Carter could still dunk in his 18th season. He was still getting buckets.
Yo, shout out the Scrolls.
I was getting more Jamal Crawford, man, than me. I see Jamal Crawford.
Yo, trust me.
Nah,
I'm sorry,
man, that's his long lost brother right there. Because when Tim Bears, when he first came in, I was like, man, he looked like Vince Carter. But I didn't say nothing. But I was like,
yeah, I take it. He got a pocket full of money. I take it. I hope I rub off some of his mojo somewhere. And another
Petty gives it a check, y'all.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty funny, man. Yeah, man. Look, let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna give this a good wrap up as far as what I think about a Super Bowl contender. And I think you guys, I think we're about 50-50 for the most part across the panel. I think half of us think we have the pieces and half of us don't, quite frankly. And I'm one of the people that I think the pieces are there. I think they just need maybe I think 2-3 little pieces here and there. I think the offensive line needs a tweak or two. I think they may need that icing on the cake on the defensive front, on that other DN that'll be icing on the cake. And I do think they need another side of beef up the middle. I do think that. And I think everything else is a work in progress. I think everything else that stuff can manifest itself as the season goes on, man, because if you know what I know, that it's all about the small things, the detailed things. It's about practice. It's about making, when you practice, man, when you practice hard, the extraordinary becomes ordinary. And by the time you get to the game, it's fun. When you practice hard, those are one of the key traits that you need to have. Playing games like it's your last game. Each game. Play each game like that's the last game you will ever get. That kind of attitude. You need that. You got those 5th and 6th round guys or those undrafted guys playing like that chip on their shoulder and playing like, this is the end for them. You need a team full of guys like that. Those kinds of pieces, man. And you reach for the stars. If you believe it, then everybody else around you tends to believe it. That leadership component, those guys make it all go, man. So I think, to be honest with you kids, I think that when I look at it on paper, and we haven't seen it play out in real time yet, when I look at it on paper, I don't see a whole lot of lacking going on here. I don't see a lot of lacking. You know what I mean? I do have my question marks about the coaching, about resilience, because that needs to play itself out too. But I think all that stuff is in development. You know what I mean? So I think we stand as good a chance as any with a rookie quarterback at competing against some of the better teams in the league. And who's to say? Who's to say we can't make that push? You got to have some luck on your side, Petty, right? You better be real lucky if you're going to make a playoff push.
Yep.
You're going to have a lot of that. You got to have the right kind of attitude. You know what I mean? And you need some tough guys to keep it going. When the going gets tough, no, you got to have dudes that's going to bring that extra out of you. Been around it, seen it. I want to see it on this team. So we'll find out what's going on. But before I get ready to wrap the show up, let me go ahead and pass it on to the Canuck for some pleasantries.
Hey, no maniacs. Fun times on a Sunday. Trust me, man. Not just the scrolls. Most of y'all had me laughing. Y'all, Don Burr. I don't know what it is. You keep these people on edge, and they get you every time. So, like, big up to you guys out there in the chat for sure. The scrolls, man. Like I said, I had to save those messages and highlight them today because you got me at least 3 times. After 3 times, I was like, bro, I had to save this stuff and show up. But yo, give a little bit of love to some of the homies I didn't give love to earlier on. Who's out there? Bear Truth 9, BT9, my dude is in the building with us, holding it down. Leo Factor, Mr. Mayhem, he loves the Nomad Network. And we love you right back, brother. Mad love to you. Obviously, the scrolls. AC Adam, you're late, dog. You're late. Mo Frugra. I just totally butchered that. So it is what it is, and I apologize. In any event, Dion Buford, mad love out to you. Thanks for coming through, dog. Who else? I think that rounds out most of the folks that I didn't catch in the earlier. Oh, Jason Toy, how you doing, Jason? Good, big ups to you. Outside of that, let's call it a day, man. Call it a Sunday. Monday, y'all, back to work, back at them with everybody else. So, 10 Bears, what do you got to say, dude?
No, just appreciate you, Nomad, for pull me up on DH. Let me get a couple at bats, and shout out to the chat. Shout out to you, kids, J2K, Petty. Like you said, I think we got an interesting mix. We gotta see how it all plays out. Like what I'm saying, I gotta be that sergeant in there that just be like, when you hit the beach, it's gonna be different than its basic training, but them live bullets. We could pop up while we got these dummy bullets, but when you hit that beach and that live fire come down, you pop your head up. We just gotta tell your moms you did good, and that's it. So I just gotta be that sergeant that just keep it buck.
Yeah, man, you look great. Well, go ahead, my man. Go ahead.
No, it's all right though. It's all love, but just shout out to everybody in the chat. All the feedback, all the love, and saying, like I said, it's always an honor and a pleasure. It's on you, J2K.
Yeah, great conversations tonight, you guys. Agree, disagree. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. 10 Bears, Petty Murphy, you guys killed it tonight. It was awesome talking to you guys. I can't wait to have you guys back on the show and being a part of this more often. Everybody in the chat, No Maniacs, you guys were awesome tonight. I always appreciate you guys. To everybody, have a wonderful week. And Patty Murphy, you want to close this out?
Yeah, why not? First off, I want to thank J2K, Kids, Nomad, as always. When we link up, it's a good time. Kids, I'm surprised we didn't disagree about everything like we normally do. Maybe we're making progress.
See?
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the scrolls. Hey, scrolls, you didn't have to say that about me, man. That was funny, but man, you didn't have to kill me like that, bro. That's but yeah, shout out to the chat. I just want to say peace and love to everybody. Hope y'all have a great, safe week. And Nomad, I'm gonna throw it up to you.
Well, as I'm looking for the out on this thing, I'm looking for the. I'm gonna just talk you guys for a second, but I'm gonna get ready to close this thing out in just 1 minute. I'm looking for the exit out on this thing, but hey man, I enjoyed this show too. I mean, to me, I'm listening to everybody's points of view, and to agree to disagree about something is normal. You know what I mean? It's just how about this, man? It's no fun having a conversation when everybody agrees with everybody. No fun at all. The whole point of this was for us to come to the table with the points that we had, the bullet points that we had of what we thought that the Bears needed to have in place in order for them to be serious Super Bowl contenders. And when you say Bears and you put Super Bowl next to it, everybody wants to ha the Bears, and they make a joke out of you. And they try to make fun out of that thought because the Bears haven't sniffed the Super Bowl in so long. And they have a rookie quarterback. And so those two components right there get you in the category of what are these guys crazy? They're going to have all the naysayers. Man, think about all the naysayers that told you couldn't do something in your life. And you turned around and did it on them and slapped them in the face with it. Put a big old pie right in their face. And so I know from my experience in my life that all you got to do is tell me what I can't do. Just tell me what I can't do. I'm finna hurry up and show your ass something. Just know that about me. Hurry up, tell me what I can't do and watch me show you. And so I think we have a team full of guys like that. I think we have a coaching staff with a little bit of chip on their shoulders. I think we have a GM with a lot to prove, and he put it all on the line. He put it all on the line the minute that he traded Justin and said, this is the quarterback we need to go to the next level. I'm going to put the pieces around this kid, and we're going to get it moving forward. He put that pressure on himself, and I'm riding with it. I wasn't so receptive to it at first, but I am absolutely riding with it because I think we as a fan base need to be a little bit partial to the guy that's running the ship and see his vision for what it is as best we can. We can stand on the side and complain about it to no avail because this is what we got going forward. If you're going to be a fan of the Bears, the orange, blue, and white. That's what I'm a fan of. Individual guys I'll always root for. If you're a Bear, I'm going to always root for you no matter what. But this is the team that we have. And I think on paper, I've seen the beginnings of great teams happen. It's the mixture. There is no roster out there I can think of right now. I think maybe the San Francisco roster, I think that roster is absolutely loaded. It's got depth. That's one of the rosters that I think of when I was about to say no team has got nothing that we don't have. That's not true. I think other teams have better depth than us. But our first 22, I think, is a matchup for anybody. I think we can match up with anybody in the league, and you just don't know what's going to happen from Sunday to Sunday. And so what I would tell you guys is to keep on believing, because if those guys believe and you keep feeding them the energy from the outside, that's just going to boost the momentum. So don't worry about when the last time we won a Super Bowl or when the last time we've been to a Super Bowl game. Don't worry about that shit. Worry about this team because every single team from year to year is different than the one last year. And so there's no reason for you to fret, oh, we don't have enough. We got a rookie quarterback. We're going to need another 2 or 3 years. You keep saying that shit year after year. This team has just as good a chance with the rookie quarterback as any other team in the NFL. It's about moments, and it's about who makes those plays in those moments. Are there leaders on this team? Do they have accountability? Are they resilient? All that shit that I listed on that list. I see more checks than I see question marks. And so give this team a chance, believe in what they can do, and you might be surprised at the outcome. And that's all I got to say about that. But my famous last words are different than they were before. Love, peace, and hair grease. We're going to have to put that. We're going to save that and put that on the side and stick more to the theme of the network logo. I'm going to leave you guys with these famous words. Love. Damn, I just about to say it. I just did. I'm so, look at, man, All right, here we go.
One more time with feeling. Take two.
Here we go. Think, see.
Action.
Come on, kids, you're killing me. I'm trying to find my outro. I'm trying to find my outro. All right, here we go. Think, see, manifest. We out.
Believe.